I'm going to end the music early because I know if we have any listeners or guests that are watching us live already, they are probably wondering where the heck you are, my friend.
In heaven. Yes.
For
It's
those of
as
y'all that
close as
can't
possible.
see us that are just listening, Shannon is sitting on a beautiful balcony with the ocean behind her.
Yes.
Tell us where you are, my friend.
Yes, in Florida. It's beautiful. The sunshine has been great. The weather has been perfect, specifically the temperature. And
Mm.
it's beautiful. The hardest decision is, the pool or the beach, and our answer is both. So it's been great. Both in one day. So we've been hopping back and forth and having a great time.
Oh my gosh, that is practicing wellness right there, my friend.
Yes,
I love
occupational
it,
wellness. Yeah,
right? Should we
yeah.
do our intro and get started with today's show?
Of course, of course. Hi, ladies. I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial business owner, the founder of Shealo Glo LLC, a handmade shea butter company. I am your advocate for self-care, business care, and intentional wellness.
Mm. Hey, y'all, I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, and published author who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Yes, and together we are Women Connected in Wisdom, a podcast grounded in the 8 dimensions of wellness. Welcome to our show.
Right? Oh my gosh. Hi, Judy. Judy's listening. She says, I love it. Both. That's always my choice.
Yes.
Talking about the beach or the pool, right?
Yes, Judy, you know what you're talking about.
Right? Right.
Yeah.
Judy is definitely a woman connected in wisdom. Well,
Mm.
today, y'all, it is hard to believe, Shannon, but today we are doing a summary show on season 2.
Season
Whoop,
2,
whoop,
guys.
whoop,
Yes,
whoop.
we're ending it. This is the last episode. Next is gonna be Welcome to Season 3.
Right?
Yeah, I'm
So,
excited.
I'm a part of the Awarepreneurs community, and Paul
Yeah.
Zelizer that's over there, and he has a podcast success team. And the
Mm.
average stats on podcasts are most podcasters do not make it past 15 episodes.
Okay.
And we're at 17. Whoop,
17 is my favorite number, y'all. My birthday's coming up, May 17th.
whoop.
Yes.
17, 17, 17th episode, 17 for the birthday. Happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you are celebrating yourself and
Yes.
having this beautiful trip.
Thank you so much.
Well, we could talk about all the 8 dimensions of wellness. We could talk about our amazing guests we've had on. We could talk about our week. What do you want to start out talking about today?
I say we talk about intentional wellness all together and how we do it, and whatever comes up for each of us, I say we hit on that.
Let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. So for me, I had a great question, right? I had somebody call me and it had been a while since we caught up. He said, Shannon, how do you stay mindful of all the 8 dimensions every day? I said, you know what? That's a great question. I might have talked about it on a show, but I'm not sure if I did. So we can kind of run through it since this is the recap, right?
That's a
And
perfect question.
no, it's really good. Like I'm gonna make a Instagram, we're gonna make social media stuff out of it and everything. But um for financial, that's something I've been working on, right? I make sure I know what's going on in my bank account. So on my checklist that I have to check the money bag so you know what's in the accounts. For occupational, on the checklist before my work stuff, before I check my emails and social media and I'm following up with customers, I'm doing my stuff for myself. I pay myself first with my time. That's mind, body, and spirit. So I do my devotion, get up and work out, drink, eat, make my bed up. All of that stuff is for me before. So that includes my spiritual wellness. That includes my mental and emotional wellness with me writing things I'm grateful for, right? On the podcast, we talk about the relationship between gratitude and grief. It's been a lot of grief during quarantine. So the gratitude, writing 10 things a day, which I feel like is a lot, but there's also a lot to be grateful for. That's really helped me. if I'm focused on my intellectual wellness. Reading is on my checklist, but I moved it from the beginning of the day, which I wanted it to be, to the end of the day. And that's also the intellectual wellness, being open to new ideas and then modifying when it's necessary. So that's my intellectual wellness, learning new things every day. What else is there? Social wellness. So social media, of course, being mindful of how much I'm online, even though I work online, but also being mindful of my role in my relationships that are important to me. Being quarantined and having been away from everybody, before we get used to getting back out, I've been very intentional about how often I see people, when we talk, making sure we don't go too long and that I know what's going on with them. So if anything happens, it's okay. How are you doing with that thing that we talked about? And again, pulling my part for my role in the relationship. But all of those things help me. And it's not a overbearing checklist, like I have to do this. I was reading Stillpoint at the airport, Christine, and one thing I love that you ladies had on the list of rules to be mindful of your wellness is to break the rules sometime and to actually not stay too strict and try to be perfect, so you don't get arrogant, you don't get bogged down. And that's really the reality of this stuff. It's not gonna be perfect every single day, but if you're intentional about it, we make habits. That's what's helped me. So season 2 has been great, and I can't wait for season 3.
So are you telling me you took my book with you on vacation to Miami?
I do have it here. I have it right here. I do.
I need a picture of you reading that book on the beach, please.
Okay.
Like,
No
I
problem.
need to see your feet and you reading the book. Like, that makes my heart so happy, my friend.
Yes. I brought it for you for marketing materials, right? Don't play, Christine. It's Shealo
I
Glo and
love
Stillpoint. I got you. I got airport pictures for you already.
This is partnership power, right?
Yes.
We talk in
Yes.
Stillpoint about partnership power, and that is a perfect example. Thank you for reading my book in the
Of
airport and on the
course.
beach, because
Of course.
that's awesome partnership power.
Yes.
Yeah, talking about these 8 dimensions, because you know, I I think the more we practice, right? In InterPlay, we have a saying, change your practice, change your life. And
Mm.
so for somebody that was new to the 8 dimensions of wellness, it may take, like, they may need to see a list, a sticky note. Sometimes when
Yeah.
I'm learning a new skill or I'm learning something new, I write myself a note about it and I put it on my bathroom mirror. Like, I do a little
Mm.
sticky note. Because if it's not in my body, if it's not in my habit body, I might forget, right?
That's a great point.
Once you get the practice, and yes, to breaking the rules and not always being perfect, but first you got to
Yeah.
have the routine before you can
Right.
break it, right?
That's so true.
so um so when I think about this question, there's my perfect days, quote unquote, not every day, but there's the way I'd love it to be, and
Right.
then reality of how it is a lot of times with things tugging
Right.
on me. But I'm with you. I start the day with the spiritual and the emotional and mental wellness.
Yeah.
Like, I start the day with some meditation if I can. Today, you know, you're sitting there on that gorgeous beach. I'm in a sweater because it's
Yes.
been raining all day in Atlanta and it's gotten a little chilly. And so, like, it's dark and rainy.
Oh no.
But so, like, I didn't start the day outside this morning because the weather
Right.
just was not conducive to it.
Right.
But starting the day with that spiritual and emotional and mental, and checking in with myself, and yes to writing the gratitudes. I think we talked about it this season that Alex, my oldest daughter, is reading the book Tools for Titans.
Yeah.
And she has started a new practice, which I love, which I'm starting to adopt, is your 3 gratitudes in the morning. And then what are 3 things that would make the day awesome? Because
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes to, like, it goes to the intellectual wellness, like
Mm-hmm.
that mindset and that intentionality about the day. And then at the end of the day, you circle back around and write your gratitudes and what made the day awesome.
I love
Right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've
Yeah.
been playing with that a little bit. And then physical, most days, it did not happen this morning, but most days I am taking a 2-mile walk. This
Yeah.
morning I interplayed and danced with a friend in Canada, and just moved and stretched. And Yeah. And then, the social one is the one that has been a challenge because of the lockdown, but thank goodness for technology, right?
Yeah.
This is what
Yeah.
I'm sometimes out of balance with as an extrovert because I like to connect with people. So,
Yeah.
you know, I have a daily practice of connecting with my nibblings who are my almost 2-year-old nephews in
They're so
Colorado.
big.
Oh my gosh. They're ridiculous. Can I tell you how ridiculous they are?
Yeah.
Like, they are doing this new thing because, they grew social. It's very interesting because they know more about the phone than they know about people in person
Mm,
because of the
mm,
pandemic, right?
mm.
So they're doing this new thing where they get the phone. They're like, "Hello, hi, hello." It's so awesome. But now that, it's getting safer to travel, I'm gonna get to go scoop them up pretty quick here and give them a
Yes.
hug. So
Yes.
I booked my tickets to
Good.
go see them, and then we're gonna drive down to Texas from Colorado and see my family.
How far
And
of a drive is that?
it's about 12-hour drive.
Hmm.
That's without twins. So
Mm.
who knows how long it's gonna take.
Right.
But, I really realized this week, Shannon, how much grief I'm holding in my body.
Mm.
And, um, you know, this is part of my work, and I work with this, and I have tools to transform it. But it was really interesting to me now that I've booked it and it's getting close to being able to see my family who I haven't, held in a year and a half. I just feel that grief rising up. Like I'm going to be a ball and mess when I see them. I just know
Mm.
it because I'm like, I've been stuffing it. And there's really, I think because there really wasn't much I could do about it. Right. And that's the way grief is sometimes. We tuck it under and oh my gosh, I have to tell you about this incredible resource.
Yeah.
Um, I'm going to look it up while you
Hmm.
tell us about something awesome. And then I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you about this incredible grief resource that I just found. Hang on.
Yeah. Yeah. And me and my best friend were talking about this because we both lost our moms. And it's really interesting. I was telling the story, and I'll just be honest. We're on a podcast, right? So I'll be honest about what happened. I said, my mom just passed away, and it's like really, it's actually the time is getting up there. This November will be 2 years. I know we're still away from November, so it really still just happened. But especially with COVID, it was like that happened, then the restaurant closed, and I had to move, and all this stuff has been happening in between that. So I didn't really get to sit down. And even when everything closed, now I'm studying to start a business. And I was studying for real, because it needs to be a successful business. And so even though I wasn't actively working, I was still actively learning, which takes a whole nother part of your brain. And it's important to make sure that we look at how we feel. But um, I think that's going to be a lot of people. We talk about grief, and you're about to show us this resource, but we're opening up now. We'll see how that goes and see what steps people need to take to get reacclimated back to whatever situation they're in. But a lot of people have passed away. A lot of stuff has happened. How do you look at how you feel in the face and deal with it? I was talking about my morning routine. I wasn't really doing that last week. I was trying to get ready to wrap all of our stuff up so we could be able to go out of town. So I was really looking at myself too, like how am I handling this? What do I need today to be okay? And that's what it's about, whether it's sticky notes or whatever you need.
I think that's a good point. That don't expect perfection out of
No,
ourselves, and in fact,
yeah,
perfection
no,
is the enemy of the good. I think in a lot of times, but
yeah,
and we're all coming through collective trauma after a year and a
mm-hmm,
half. So how do we do
mm,
this? So my friend Cynthia Winton Henry, who's the co-founder of InterPlay, shared this resource with us yesterday, and I'm going to share my screen for folks that are watching this video,
yeah,
and for our listeners, it is called the Artist Grief Deck, and it is and we will put it in our
show
show notes.
notes.
But look at how cool this is. It is artists and different like social workers and grief therapists who have put in art, but then they've also put in like little things you can do. So it
Mm,
is one of the coolest things. I just submitted something this morning So we'll see if it gets accepted. But it's called, you can find it at griefdeck.com, but it's called the Artist Grief Deck. And like this one, it says acceptance, let it rain. And then it gives you more, like you click on it and you can continue. But it is just really gorgeous. A lot of different prompts for working on grief work. And I just think about that for emotional and mental wellness. I think about, when our friend Tracy Reese from Hart Hughes was on here and her art. I want to make sure she sees this, because I could totally see her having a piece of art on here.
Yeah. And I love the story of Hart Hughes. You know, I love this. I love the artist that, and I love Tracy's story this season, how she shared about the different colors of hues and the situations that she was going through. That's the reality. You know, of course, there's grief, there's gratitude, there's those things we talked about, but there's really all these other details, and you can feel differently about them. A lot of times I feel like we talk about a few emotions and not all of them, but all of them are there. All of them can be tools or pointers to show you something that you need to pay attention to, something that you need to work on, or, I mean, honestly, even something that you do well, but it's not something to feel bad about. I think we're taught to feel bad about certain emotions in certain situations. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Right. And
Yeah,
how
I
to,
love that
and
artist
I've
there.
always been taught, that feelings are neither right nor wrong.
Right.
It's what you do with them that count. Right. And we're allowed our whole range of feelings. And so, yeah, Judy says that is a beautiful deck. I agree, Judy. And there's a way to submit as an artist if you want to put your work and your prompts on there, because I know you're an amazing energy healer. So I for sure check it out. We'll put it in the show notes about to connect with that deck and how to put a submission in. So absolutely.
I
I think it's all virtual right now. I don't know if they're making it a physical deck or not. Yeah, I was thinking about, Shannon, I was thinking about season 2, and I was thinking about some of the guests we had. And, this was the season that we had Colin Chambers from Wildwood Magic. And I was thinking about her because on Sunday, my girls and I went for a hike on the Appalachian Trail. And, her was about physical wellness and hiking and walking and noticing things around you. And I haven't really posted those pictures, but I should share them with you so we can post some of them as our social media. But it was stunning. It was a trail that's supposed to be one of the most beautiful ones for the part of Georgia. And can I tell you, it took us 2 hours to get there. We were on National Forest roads, and we were out in the middle of nowhere. Like, so my kids were like, Mom, could you have picked a more remote spot? I mean, dirt roads, but it was stunningly gorgeous. And there were all kinds of little wildflowers. And, we were just, I don't know, it was almost a perfect day. It was so stunning. And so I was thinking about Colin and her, the Leave No Trace, and the principles she was talking about when we were hiking this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what she said, that it's nothing that there's no bad situation that a good walk can't fix. Something like that, she said, and I plan on taking a walk today for the sunset at the beautiful ocean. And I was thinking about Colin because of that too.
Right? Yeah, take a picture of that. I would love for you. That is my sunrise and sunset are my favorite time at the ocean. Have you gotten to see a sunrise yet?
I haven't been up before the sun came up, but that'll probably be tomorrow. I've still been getting up pretty early, and we've been working out and stuff, but not that early, not yet.
Right? Sometimes when I'm at the beach, I set my alarm to go do the sunrise, and then I go back and take a nap. But I would be curious for our listeners: are they sunrise or sunset folks?
That's
and they may be both, but I'm a sunrise.
Okay, I like the sunrise, and then I actually like at night. Like at night, if you have a place on the beach where there's some light, or you bring your own light, it's breathtaking.
It's magical,
it's
isn't
beautiful. Yeah, it's different. It's I don't even know the words to put to it, but yeah, it's great.
Right.
Yeah.
It reminds
Something
me of that country song. And I'm gonna blow it because I don't recall artists, but you know the country song where she sings about I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean.
hope you still feel strong when you're standing by the ocean. Yeah.
You
I
know?
hope you dance. Yeah. I hope
Yeah.
you
Is
dance.
that
Yeah.
Trisha Yearwood?
I don't know the person, but I definitely know the song.
We'll
Yeah.
we'll put it in the show notes. My Texas people are gonna be like, girl, you're failing. They're gonna revoke my
Girl.
Texas card.
That's funny. You know what else I've been thinking about from the season is what Anna said. Is it Anna or Anna?
Anna,
With this Anna. So she was talking about her field, right? And when I think
right?
about social wellness, that's definitely what I do. Like as a young black person in America, what do you do with the anger? You know what I mean? Like where do you
Right.
put that? Like if you're creative, sure that's a great outlet. That's a healthy outlet, you know. What else do you do? Because there's so much stuff um, that happens on a daily basis. How do you realistically work through that stuff? And for me, coming from a place that looks a certain way, living in a place that looks a certain way, I'm not talking about Atlanta, I'm talking about my mental home and where I stay, that helps
Right.
me so much. And not because I'm unrealistic, but because I choose the temperature of where I live. You know, I'm a thermostat, I'm not a thermometer. So a thermostat um, just gauges the temperature in whatever room this person walks into. That's what they switch to. So if they walk into a hostile situation, now they turn up and now they're hostile. If they walk into a calm situation, now they're calm and they feel like they can relax. But I feel like I've had a better time being a thermometer and okay, this is what we're setting it to, and then I'll respond based off whatever happens after that. But when I set it to a certain thing, it makes it a lot easier to handle situations in a well-rounded way.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anna was talking to us. She's the founder of the Expansive community. And if our listeners didn't get a chance to hear that episode, she was talking about spiritual wellness and how we, set our intentions in when we walk into spaces. So I love that, Shannon.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I
All
love to go back to Tracy's stuff, the heart hues with her paint parties, and excuse me for calling them paint parties because I believe the title is something else. But I love the idea of what'd you say?
nothing.
Oh,
Go.
but I love the idea of working through situations and different things that have happened in your life while still focusing on painting and doing something creative. And again, she said it's for the people who don't paint, who aren't necessarily creative and wouldn't say that they're that person. It's even better because you're not trying to be perfect. You're just trying to finish the task at hand while you're thinking about everything else. And I think that's great to start if you need to start somewhere and you're not used to it. And even if you are, I feel like it's more relaxing that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many things that can bring us to wellness. And the thing is it's individual,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
do different things. Um, Rosalind Kahn, she was the author that was talking to us about kindness and
Yeah.
about youth development and mentorship and
Hmm.
leadership. And yeah, I don't know. I think about the random acts of kindness. I think about I used to practice on a very regular basis. I've been out of habit of it lately. But do you remember when that was a big thing where I can't even remember who started it.
Random
But
acts of kindness.
yeah, where you would just intentionally do a random act of kindness for somebody you didn't know as you went
Yeah.
along your day. So,
Yeah. For me, if you're asking where it started, the furthest back I can remember, I remember the movie Pay It Forward.
mhm.
And so for me, that was I didn't go to a conference or hear about this. I don't know if there's like a huge movement, but I know the movie Pay It Forward, that's what it was about. You know, doing something for this person, and you never know the ripple effect of what would happen and how that might change the trajectory of somebody's course.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And when you talk about wellness, like I've had so much stuff go on in my life that volunteering and helping other people is actually really important. You know, it helps me take the focus off of my stories and going over these details that I know so intimately over and over again, and remembering that I'm still in a place where I can help other people. And now I see, you know what, and not in a judgmental way, but I would rather be where I am than on the other end. And so I can do this and still be okay, and we'll make it through whatever I'm going through.
Right. Talking
Yeah.
about volunteering, I want to give a shout out today is Give InterPlay Day. And so Give InterPlay Day is a fundraising day for an organization that is near and dear to my heart. Interplay.org or interplayatlanta.org. We we use movement and storytelling and voice to create just communities and to do community building and yeah, so I'm going to put a link to that in the show notes too, because that's one of the places I volunteer at, and I do work too. I do community work through them. They're a nonprofit. And the other shout out I want to give, talking about volunteer work, because I think it goes to social wellness, and I think it goes to what we're talking about, is Reforming Arts is an organization that I'm currently serving on their board, where we use arts and theater, device theater, working with folks currently in the criminal justice system in Georgia and Reentering Society. So we had Shannon, and I want to put a link to this in the show notes. I don't know, but y'all, we had the best meeting with the Gwinnett County Public Library. They have a program right now that is ridiculously awesome for reentering citizens. It is an entrepreneurial program that they got a grant for, that they hook folks up. You have to apply, and I think the application date is the end of May. So if anybody listening knows somebody that's reentering, this program is for folks that want to start their own business or have their own business and want to have mentorship. So they give them a laptop, a hotspot for 6 months, a mentor. They do a monthly class and check-in. And it's really a beautiful program to help folks start their own business, because as we know, so many people are discriminated against when they come back, when they reenter society. So it's like a second sentence. You know, they pay and they did their first sentence, but the discrimination that happens when they come out is like a second sentence, because they have trouble finding housing and jobs. And so I was so thrilled to learn about this program. I will put it out there for our listeners. But yes to volunteer work, yes to it being a part of our wellness and what we do in the world. So
and yes to people who are re-entering society to start their own business, if that's what I'm gonna fix this. If that's what suits them best, I'm for it.
Right.
Okay.
That setting is so beautiful, Shannon.
I love
it. The screensaver. You know how you put the backdrops in on Zoom? That's what it looks like. It's such a beautiful setting.
I'm gonna do that.
Right?
I need to set up my Zoom background anyways.
Right? And take a picture of it, and that can just be, you're like, there I am. But
I'm gonna put the little Shealo Glo bird in the corner.
Absolutely you are. Absolutely you are. Flying over. That's fantastic. I was thinking back through our guests from last season, and I was thinking about our friend Virginia, who does Roots and Wings, the experiences for women outdoors, and also owns Next Steps Evaluation. And she was talking about balancing her occupation with her work and occupational wellness, like doing what you love and making a difference in society. That was a powerful conversation.
Yeah. And it's so, it's really interesting because, when I was a manager at the restaurant, I realized some things that I loved about my job, right? I loved helping people get to the level they wanted to be at, whether it was promotion or get better at something that was difficult for them. Now, mind you, that could also be my psychology degree and be a counselor or something like that. So I felt like the parts of my job that I loved, I could do at a number of different jobs, which is why I decided not to be there anymore for part of it. But outside of that, how do you, and this is why we have conversations with amazing women, right? But how do you balance all of that? Which is why I'm glad that we had her on, especially as somebody who has, I wouldn't say trail walks. How would you describe her walks?
I would say intentional walks in nature
Mm,
or
I love that.
experience or intentional natural experiences. Because she sometimes does journaling with her walking.
Okay.
She does prompts with her walking. Like she'll give prompts before she heads out. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
done some pretty incredible ones. She and I did
Yeah.
a hike together over at Roswell Mill that was incredibly
I think
beautiful,
her and I went to Roswell Mill too. We went somewhere up in Gwinnett. But I love
right?
that. So we have Virginia with the walks. We have Tracy with heart cues. We have Joe with her drum lessons, right? We have a
Right?
plethora of different and that's just three of the many guests that we've had. We have so many
Right?
resources for
Yeah,
people to
let's
plug
give a
into.
shout out for our friend Dr. Joe Veazey and Joe Van
Yes,
Treese, who was our first episode back in season 1 after our
yes.
intro. She launched this week. I saw on social media. She's doing group drum lessons
Cool.
virtually. Y'all, my inner 12-year-old was doing a happy dance. I think I got to take one drum lesson when I was a kid, and then
Mm,
that was kiboshed. So I need to sign up for those drum lessons. Like that
that
makes
would
me
be
so
exciting.
think about
Yeah,
drumming, right?
I love
Oh,
drums. It was so interesting. Like, so I was in band for 7 years, and when I went to try out, I thought I was going to be playing the clarinet. Ended up playing the flute again for 7 years, and I knew I would play an instrument. I knew I would learn to read music. I knew that marching bands marched. Again, we said this season 1. It's important to reiterate: marching band is a sport. Okay, we're
yep.
not walking on the field. We are marching. All those things I knew. But what I hadn't thought about was the physical wellness part, and not the marching, but the breathing. Like the breathing exercises helped me so much with everything that I was going on, that I was going through on those 7 years. I really think band and the intellectual wellness that it cultivated and required, and the physical activity, the breathing, it really helped me manage the level of stress that I had during that time.
Do you have an instrument that you still want to learn how to play, or you want to pick back up or practice?
Mm. I would love to pick back up piano. I played piano when I was younger. I would love to learn how to play piano. I would love to pick up the flute again. I was section leader, and it's been probably now longer than 7 years.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I think it has been longer than 7 years since I played now. So we're about twice, the same amount of time as I played. I would love to do that again, make sure I'm in tune and able to read the music. And I would say guitar too. Guitar is always on the list. I love acoustic guitar.
So, okay, do it now, Shannon, because
Wow.
I tried to play guitar a couple of years ago and I threw
Yeah.
my shoulder out. And when I went to the chiropractor, she started laughing at me because she said, "You are like the third middle aged white woman that's been in here this week with their shoulder
Wow.
out from trying to
Oh
learn how to play
no.
the guitar."
Okay. So when I play
So
guitar, increase how much calcium I have. Got it.
well, just know that there is physicality to some of that, right? It's not,
Mm,
I don't want to discourage anybody from doing it. My kids then gave me a ukulele, which I haven't practiced enough on. But there is a physicality to some of that stuff that we don't think about,
no,
right?
no,
Um, so
definitely.
yes, I wanna. I have drums and flute that I want to
Ooh,
practice more. That I am. That I just don't schedule practicing. And when we talk about wellness, one of my wisdom in action is to
yeah.
schedule things like that
Mm,
because we're so good as women of taking care of other people. And so many times I find that, my attention gets tugged here or here, or somebody needs this or that, and all
yeah.
that's important. And that free time sometimes goes away. So scheduling that. And I think sometimes that's why it's great to hire somebody like Joe to have a drum lesson because, it's accountability and you're going to show
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
right? So,
Well, honestly, I think it depends. I was doing kickboxing. People have gym memberships and don't go. I was paying like $70 a month.
whew,
Who knew, and sometimes I wouldn't go. So I really think it's the personal commitment. You can schedule as much stuff. It's really interesting. These classes, let's say online classes, right? They
yeah.
have this part of the pool is that, oh, you'll go through it with the community. Everybody will be learning together. I was an honor student, and a lot of times I sat at the front. Group projects weren't optional. I did great in whatever situation you put me in. Online, the group does not keep me there. I still won't finish
Right.
it. I don't know what it is. So It's just
Right.
about what you personally will be committed to. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a body double. I like having
Mm,
somebody, I like doing things. I think that's part of my social too. Like I
yeah.
like to combine social and physical wellness.
Yeah.
If I have somebody that's going to meet me at the pool or that'll go on a bike ride with me or
Mm,
that, and I like to do those things by myself too.
yeah.
I like doing it with a buddy. And it could be
Yeah.
because I had a sister that was 16 months younger than me. So I just grew up
Mm,
having a buddy, you know?
right.
I
Yeah.
think about that sometimes. Is it our family of origin and how we grew up,
Yeah. I
that,
mean, when we talk about nature and nurture, the thing that makes a person who they are, nature, your biology, your parents, where you come from is 1/3 of it. Nurture is the other 2/3. So your environment, who you're around, your social group, and the way that you're taught in the different, what word am I looking for? In the different places that you are, to make it simple, right? The different environments that you're in. So you grew up with your sister. It absolutely makes sense that you're used to having somebody there with you. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And even outside of that, I think that we can know what's the norm for us, know what we're used to, and then decide how to operate outside of that. Of course, initially, like you said, you got to get into the rhythm. Initially, you might be more comfortable with somebody else there, but after a while, it takes 21 days to create a challenge. If your situation calls for something different or you feel like you need something different, I think as adults, then it's like we can choose how we want to be to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But if you know
Yeah.
that being with somebody helps you with your physical, then do that. You're able to do that still, then good job. You've been doing a great job with that.
Well, I also think about, when you were in band, I was in all the sports because my
Yeah,
dad was a coach when I was
yeah,
growing up. And
yeah,
so, I went the sports route. And I think about like the team and stuff. Like I've always been a part of a team.
yeah,
And so I think that's part of it also. Thinking about teams, I'm thinking about our friend Charticia, who was on for occupational wellness
yeah,
on season 1 and talked to us about Women Engaged and that organization that is amazing.
yeah,
And, you know, we got some stuff happening in Georgia, y'all. Right. I'm writing postcards. Part of my wisdom in action for community care this week is I'm writing postcards about redistricting because this
mm,
is a year in Georgia that they're redistricting. So I encourage you to check that out and to
yeah,
pay attention and us to be active and engaged because that makes a difference on voting and it makes a difference on um, resources and
right.
accessibility to resources.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
think that's huge. I was so happy to know you ladies and know that you're involved in helping the community stay involved in politics. I know that's a whole another topic that we could talk about later on, but um,
Right.
things are changing, and that's what law does. That's what we do. Keep moving forward. So I'm happy to know that you guys are still working on stuff. And yeah, Chartisi was amazing as far as telling us what she did. I remember she said she had to get more used to taking better care of herself, and that helped her take care of her household. And on top of that, her goals and everything that she was doing with the voting, she said they crushed the goals. So that was great.
Well, and can I give you an update on her and
Yeah.
our because I spoke to her this week, y'all, and I will put this in the show notes. But I don't even know you know this yet, Shannon. She
Well,
just signed a lease to take her industrial cleaning business out of her home, and it has now a brick and mortar. And
whew,
she
let's
also
go, office.
Right? And she also signed a lease to, or signed a contract to be an authorized U-Haul dealer. So that
Mm,
is a woman that is kicking it. So she said to us on Monday's manifesting meeting that she's going to have a grand opening in July, and that if we don't come, she is going to be mad at us for 45 days.
45.
She told us she held the grudge for 45 days. So
Oh
we will
no.
put the grand opening up when we know about it. We'll let
Yeah,
everybody know because if you
we'll
can
put it
join
in the
it,
planner.
that's going to be in Snellville, Georgia, and we want to
Yeah,
celebrate that amazing woman. And I mean, she is just kicking it.
I
So
love that. Yeah,
right,
that's amazing. Knowing when the company needs to grow and continuing to do that. It's a new company. She saw an opportunity in quarantine and took advantage of it. So I'm so happy to hear that she's growing. And I'll be there if I can. Absolutely.
Right? Super fun.
Yeah.
Well, we got to give a shout out to my dear friend and co-author Sheila K. Collins. As you're reading Stillpoint, so many of those words are hers and
Yeah.
her deep well of wisdom,
Yeah.
from her 8 decades on the planet, and the fact that she shows up and dances every day just amazes me. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and I love how the book makes it's again the dance of self-care, right? So I feel like we're used to dancing or taking pictures if they're perfect, or if the line is right in your body, if you have the moves right. If you don't know the dance, sit down. But that's not life, The
right?
picture isn't always going to be perfect. You should take it anyways, dance anyways. We were just singing the song, and I think that's really what it's about. That's really what it's about, is to move what you can move, like she said for our episode, and to keep things keep your wellness in the front of your mind, and remember to stay connected to all the different parts of you. That's what I love about Still Point, how it
Right.
brings in the somatic twins, the touchy and feely, and
Right.
how, can you tell I've been reading the book? Okay.
I love that
And I
so
love it.
much.
It's so good because it's not just logical. It's all of these things. And when you cut out part of it, you cut out part of your space to heal. You're cutting out part of the situation and how you were affected. And why limit yourself and forget part of yourself in other situations in your life when you can bring all of it with you into the next day, into the next moment. So I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it really, yeah, just bringing it all. You know what guest brought their all to our episode? Was
Ooh.
Shwenka Rahim, Bebo Love, and bringing
Breathe in
all that
love, breathe out
love.
love.
Breathe in love, breathe out love. Whew.
Yes. And
Yeah.
again, that was so interesting when we talk about social wellness because historically, you guys see, I'm at the beach, I'm at the pool. I don't know if I would have been able to swim in this pool a few decades ago. Okay, so I made sure to swim in the pool, and um, not in a manipulative type of way, but just because I know how to swim and I like to swim, so I'm gonna get in the pool. But to breathe in love, even in an environment where there might not be love for me, again, is me being a thermostat. But then, even if I'm not breathing in love from other people, to breathe out love. That's very important, to be mindful
Right.
of where you are and how you affect your environment. That's our environmental wellness. What does your environment look like?
I love that. You saying that about the pool makes me think of my friend and colleague from InterPlay, Charles Al Lingo. We call him Al. And he was, here's one of the things I love about living in Atlanta or near Atlanta.
Yes.
He was one of the first white men to work, if not the first, to work
Mm,
for Dr. Martin Luther King. And he was in that famous picture of the pool when they were
mm,
integrating the pool, when they threw
mm,
acid in the pool.
mm,
He was part of that demonstration. And I met him through his daughter, Kyra Jewel Lingo, who is going to be a guest on our show in season 3. And she was a monk for Thich Nhat Hanh's order.
mm.
And she'll tell us her story. It's a pretty magical journey, but she is an interplay leader now. And I met her through interplay, and she introduced us to Al, who is also now an interplay leader.
I
And
love
I
that.
just think about the connections, right? The connections of wellness, the connections of social justice, where we live and how we walk in this world is
Yeah.
pretty magical. You
Yeah.
know whose name we haven't called, who I want to call out as we're wrapping
Who?
up season 2, is my friend Carolyn Renee, who came
Yes.
on in season 1 for intellectual wellness. And she is the founder of WOA, Women Helping Others Advance. And
Mm,
she is also the executive director of the Arts Exchange in East Point, Atlanta. And just phenomenal,
yeah.
phenomenal
Yeah.
walking
And
the talk.
what I loved about her story was how her and her daughter together took a trip. And I mean, they spend time, of course, but they were intentional about their wellness on an intergenerational level. And that's huge, you know. So it looks one way if you're this age, but what if you're this age? It does look different. You know, there's different considerations. If you're going to be in the workforce for the next 50 years, it's completely different than if you have 5 years left, you know. So I love thinking about
that makes me think about Terry Stigler, who came and talked to us in season 2 about financial wellness.
I've been working with Terry. Absolutely.
Yay!
Yes. And I
Okay.
love what Terry said. She said a lot of people think they're ready to retire, and their trajectory where they're going says that they'll never be ready to retire. So Terry absolutely has a free snapshot that she can do for you financially to let you know where you are. We've been doing a lot of work. We were able to get my life insurance set up and are working on this car insurance now. I would love to pay less money and still be covered. So yeah,
Right. Oh, I love that. I love that you're still in connection with her, and I
absolutely.
mean, that's what it's all about, right? We
Yes.
have friends, we have people, we have women in the world who are doing amazing work and
Yeah.
helping their communities and supporting each other and lifting each other up. Like,
Mm.
let's lift each other up in these times. I
Yes.
love that.
Yes.
I love that. Well, I think we've shouted out every guest except for Mariella Percal, who was last week's guest
Yeah.
with Percal Naturals. And boy, she was awesome, wasn't she?
Yeah, and her story reminds me a lot of the story for my company, for Shealo Glo, right? I started making a product because I needed something, works amazing. Said, you know what, let me start a business. And that's her story. Her skin cleared up beautifully to the point where you wouldn't even know that she had this issue and had dealt with this. But because it was a problem that she saw an opportunity with, now she's able to help all these women and men and people in general. So I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
Stunning inside and out, and an
Yes.
actor and new to our community. So it was delightful to meet her. It really was. Well, my friend, tell me, I don't know if we should give you a wisdom in action because you're on vacation. So I don't know
Ooh.
if you want to hashtag wisdom in action today.
I mean, I would always do wisdom in action because you can be wise and know better and then move away from that and start acting unwise. I've done that before, so I'll do it. And last week was exfoliation. You see why I had to get on my exfoliation schedule. Okay, I had to come to the water, so we had to be ready. This week I will, and this is the recap, right? So this is all 8 dimensions. I will say that, okay, so this is perfect. My wisdom in action is setting up my plan. So we're about to come back. It's going to be the last half of the year. I try to make sure I don't run and just do things. I try to operate from a plan. So I need to come back with the plan intact and work from the plan. So my wisdom in action is to set a plan for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's a great time because we're rolling up on June, which is
Exactly.
incredible. It's
Yes.
a good time for a half year check-in.
Right.
Yes. My wisdom in action is I got so many of them. That's the thing.
Right.
I gotta distill it down because
Yes.
I like to do too much stuff.
Yeah, me too.
So that is part of my wisdom in action is resting this week. Is resting. And we had a new moon yesterday, something it was talking about rest and relaxation. And yes, to breathing and resting while we're getting all this done. You know, taxes are
Yes.
this week. They're shout out
Yes.
for folks who still need to get their taxes done.
Yes.
That's a good financial wellness. And if you're not going to
Mhm.
get them done by Friday, put in for the extension.
Mhm.
Take care of yourself. And so yeah, I am really getting my schedule back on track for my morning routine
Yeah.
and just allowing myself a little extra time in the mornings to set myself up for success for the rest of the day
Yeah.
by taking that time to breathe deep and meditate and walk in my woods and and then go because I like
Right.
to go.
Me too. Me too. But you can't go when the gas run out. Now you're looking crazy. You know.
Well, talking about gas running out, you know what's
Yeah.
happening in Atlanta. Do
Oh,
y'all
I
have
heard
glass
about
in
it.
Florida? Okay.
We not even worried about gas. We've been walking everywhere. We didn't even rent a car.
Okay. Well, make sure oh, yeah. Hopefully you have gas in your tanks when you fly
Yes,
back in.
it's
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um.
for our
But yeah,
listeners,
crazy.
we're having a big gas shortage on the East Coast and yeah, so hopefully it'll be fixed by this weekend. But
Yes.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, walking everywhere. That's a good wisdom in action.
Yeah,
Walk
I love
everywhere.
it. That's financial wellness. Why rent a car if you don't need one?
Right? I love it. But I also think, I think about the joys of walking. I'm a walker. I
Yeah.
like to walk places
Yeah, me too.
and feel the trees and the earth and,
Yeah.
I see things when I'm walking that I don't see when I'm in a car. So I love that.
It's
I
very
love
true.
that. Hey, will you tell us about our sponsor before we wrap up our
Absolutely.
show today? Will you
Of
tell us a little
course.
bit about Shealo Glo?
Of course. Ladies, our sponsor for Women Connected in Wisdom is Shealo Glo, the handmade shea butter company. And the mission of Shealo Glo is to include self-care into your daily life so that we're intentional about it. So in addition to including that in your daily life, what we also like to do is honor the Shea Road. So if you see the banner at the bottom of your screen, and if you're a listener, it's my Shea Road to shayloglo@gmail.com. I want you to email me and tell me somebody that you would like to honor, somebody you want to give a free gift of self-care to, and we'll pick somebody at the end of the quarter and honor them by, again, sending out a self-care package. But it's been an honor to be able to host and sponsor this podcast to connect women in wisdom, give you resources and tools to take care of yourself. And that is what Shealo Glo is here to do and it's all about.
Right? I love it. I
Yeah.
love the work you do in the world, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Well, I have loved our conversation today. I don't want to keep you too long because you have some water to get into
The sun is
somewhere.
calling. Do you see it? It said, Shannon, where are you?
It just lit you up beautifully right when you were talking about Shealo Glo,
Yeah,
y'all.
good.
It was like a commercial that you planned. It was gorgeous. You you wear the beach very well, my friend.
Thank you very much. Yes.
So you want
And of course, close us out. Thank you, ladies, so much for listening. Don't forget to be well, be wise, be whole. We will see you next week for season 3.
I look forward to it, my friend. Enjoy.
Yes.